All right, this is chapter 2, lesson 1, decimals and fractions. Okay, so this entire chapter is all about decimals, fractions, and percents. So we've got a couple fun things that we're going to learn about with them. All right, so let's look at the first box. Okay, the first box says write decimals as fractions and mixed numbers. Okay, so in order to do decimals like 0.25, 0.15, 0.31, and 0.29 can all be written as fractions with denominators of 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. Any number that can be written as a fraction is a blank blank. Okay, so those are going to be rational, one second, let me adjust this real fast. So those are going to be rational numbers. Rational numbers. Okay? So decimals like 3.25, 26.82, and 125.54 can be written as mixed numbers in simplest form. Okay? The other thing that I wanted to talk about are writing fractions and mixed numbers as decimals. So you can go one way, you can go decimals to fractions, or you can go fractions to decimals. Okay, for fractions with denominators that are factors of 10, 100, or 1,000, you can write blank fractions with those denominators. So that's going to be equivalent. Equivalent fractions. Okay. So, taking a look at some of the examples. So for each of these examples, I'm writing each decimal as a fraction in simplest form. So the first one that I have is 0.6. Okay, so 0.6. Okay, place value chart shows that the place value of the last decimal place is tenths. So here's my place value chart. So you can see the 6 is right there at the tenths. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. So tenths means I can write a denominator of 10. Okay, 6 tenths, 6 over 10. I can simplify this. 6 divided by 2, so I'm dividing by 2, okay, gives me 3. 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. So I'm left with a final answer of 3/5. Okay. The other problem I have with writing decimals to fractions is 0.375, okay? So when I write this out, 0.375, I go tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So thousandths tells me I have 1,000 in the denominator. I can simplify this, okay? When I simplify this, I divide both of them, right, by 125. You don't have to do it right off the bat, but you can simplify by 125. So I divided this by 125, okay? That gives me 3/8. So that is my final answer, 3/8. Okay. The other types of problems I have are going to be writing fractions as decimals. So there are two methods that I can use. I can either write an equivalent fraction, okay, or I can divide them. Whichever one works for you, completely up to you. All right. So the first method, I take 9/12 and I simplify it as much as possible. Well, I can divide 9 and 12 by 3. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. Well, 4 I can change to 100 by multiplying by 25. 3 times 25 is 75, okay? So I get 0.75, because 75 hundredths, 75.75, okay? Method 2 is I just divide, okay? I take the denominator, That goes on the outside because that's what I'm dividing by, and the 9 goes on the inside, okay? So I'm dividing 9 by 12, okay? When I do this, 12 does not go into 9, I get 0. 12 does go into 90 7 times. 7 times 12 gives me 84. I subtract. 90 minus 84 gives me 6. And I bring down the 0. Okay? 12 can go into 60 5 times. 5 times 12 gives me 60. 60 minus 60 does give me 0. Okay? So, you can either do it the first way or the second way. The first method only works if you can create an equivalent fraction. So there are 6 try it problems. I want you to pause the video, try them out on your own, okay? When you're done, come back and we will go over the answers together. All right, so now that you've gone over the answers by yourself, let's go over them together. The first one I have is writing each decimal as a fraction in simplest form. So I'm going with 0.8. Okay, so this is A, 0.8. This is 8 tenths, so I can write this as 8 over 10. Well, I can divide both 8 and 10. I'm going to divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. So my final answer is 4/5. So for A, I get 4/5. Okay. For letter B is 0.28. Okay, so this is 28 hundredths. So this is 28 over 100. I can divide both of these by 2. 28 divided by 2 gives me 14. 100 divided by 2 gives me 50. Okay? I can still simplify by dividing by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 50 divided by 2 is 25. So that's my final answer, 7/25. That's for letter B. Okay. Then I have letter C. Letter C says 0.125. Okay, so 0.125 is 125 thousandths. So 125 over 1,000. I can divide both of these by 125. So I get 1/8. So C is 1/8. Okay. Now for D, E, and F, they want me to write each fraction as a decimal. So D is 3/5. Okay, I can write 3/5 as an equivalent fraction because 5 I can multiply 5 times 20 to get 100. So I multiply both of these by 20. 3 times 20 is 60. 5 times 20 is 100. So 60 hundredths. So 0.60 or 0.6. Okay. So 3/5. Either would be correct. All right. E is 14/15. Okay? $15 does not go into 100 evenly. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. Okay? 15 goes on the outside, 14 goes on the inside. 14 is smaller than 15, so I'm going to have a decimal, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add a 0 at the end, a 0.0. Okay, 15 can't go into 1, and it can't go into 14, but it can go into 140, okay? My point up here. 15 can go into 140 5 times. 5 times 15 gives me 75. Sorry, 9 times. Can go in 9 times. Okay, 9 times 15 gives me 135. Okay, then I can subtract. 10 minus 5 gives me 5. Okay, so I shouldn't have a remainder, so I'm going to add another 0. I bring it down. 15 can go into 50. 3 times. This gives me 45. Okay. 50 minus 45 is 5. We can see the pattern is going to repeat over and over again. I'm going to get 5. I'm going to bring down a 0, get 45. So this means the 3 repeats. Okay. So my answer is 0.93 repeating. Okay. All right. So letter F is 102 over 250. I can simplify this, but I can't simplify it to a denominator of 100. So I'm going to go ahead and divide. Okay. So I'm going to take 250, 102 goes on the inside. Add some zeros. Okay. 250 can't go into 1. 250 can't go into 10. 250 can't go into 102. 250 can go into 1020. Four times. 4 times 250 is 1,000. I subtract. I get 20, and I bring down my 0. 250 cannot go into 200, so I put a 0. 0 times 250 is 0, and I subtract. I get 200. Okay. And add a 0, bring it down. 250 can go into 2,000 8 times. 8 times 250 is 2,000. So I subtract and I get 0. So I have 0 remainders, so I can stop. 0.408 is my answer for letter F. Okay. And that is the end of lesson 1.